Hello everyone and welcome back to Southern Wealth. I hope you guys are doing very well. If you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. It greatly helps the channel. So, markets are in the red when it comes to crypto pretty much after the tariff against Canada and Mexico came into fruition. Now, obviously, the markets don't like it. It adds a level of uncertainty, which is the thing that the markets hate the most. Now, I don't expect this to be the final tariffs that we're going to see. And usually, how these things go are the more tariffs that are announced, the lower the impact that you see on the markets. Just remember, for example, the zombie virus back in 2020. Every time we were getting news, the stock market was reacting violently, then less violently, then at some point nobody cared anymore. Same thing with the inflation numbers. When the inflation numbers back in 2022 were coming out, they were leading to quite the aggressive moves on stocks and other markets, but after a while it was pretty much irrelevant in the markets. So this tends to happen like this. As soon as you see the first level of uncertainty inserted, then the market starts pricing in further future uncertainty, if you want to call it that way, and then we see basically the big adjustments, and then until to a point where you stop seeing any adjustments whatsoever. Now, crypto is being hit the hardest. Why? It's the only market that it's open. It's actually not even clear if this is positive or negative for crypto because there's no tariffs for crypto. So, in any case, this is not news in the sense of when the markets are closed and the level of uncertainty is created, you tend to have an addition of volatility in the crypto market, as it's the only one that is open. Also, there was a Polymarket stat in which apparently somebody bet $1 million that China would invade Taiwan in 2025. Look, man, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. To be honest, I have to say the first time that I heard rumors about China is about to invade Taiwan date back to 2014. That was the first time that me personally heard about it. And it seems that once a year we have this conversation, and so far nothing has happened. Is it a potential black swan? Sure. Now, this is something very important to understand. It doesn't matter which cycle we are. It doesn't matter if you're in stocks, in bonds, in currencies, in futures, in commodities, whatever. Doesn't matter. You operate under what is known in the market at a certain moment. But there's always something that can come out of the blue and be extremely negative. The same way that there's something that can come out of the blue and it's extremely positive. It's the same. So let's say on the negative side, let's say China can invade Taiwan. Yes, Trump can be killed. The escalation, the war in Europe can escalate. Big bank can all of a sudden appear to be going bankrupt, etc., etc., etc. All these things can happen at any given time. It doesn't matter if it's 2025, 2026, or 2027. Or you can also wake up and see Japan's going to deploy 10% of its reserves into Bitcoin. What else? Qatar, Saudi, and the UAE will deploy 7% of all the net profit of its state-owned companies into Bitcoin. The US has passed an official Bitcoin strategic reserve. What I'm trying to say is that it can work on both sides. Now, what I see here is the following, and I've said this 1,000 times before. If Trump, but I'll go again, okay? So I apologize to my long-dated followers. If Trump wins, I said I expect a 2017 kind of cycle. If she wins, I expect a 2021 kind of cycle. What happened 2021? By January, Ethereum was hitting all-time highs. The cycle, Bitcoin peaked in April 2021 during the Coinbase IPO, if you guys recall. So Bitcoin hit, I think on 19th of April 2021, it hits $65,000. Then it sells off 55% to 29,000 by August or so. And then it makes a very slight new all-time high in November of 69,000. By the way, 69 to 65,000 is a 6% gain. Just for you to have an idea, right, to price this. After massive amounts of leverage from Three Arrows Capital, Don Juan from the Terra Luna guy, Celsius, BlockFi, blah, blah, blah. So all this leverage into the system so we could get a measly 6% higher high in November 2021, which we did. But if you look at the majority of altcoins, they peaked back in May 2021. Once again, 1 month after Bitcoin, as I've discussed here many, many times. Then we did have a second altcoin season later in November and December. However, most coins did not make a new all-time high. They came very close, but they didn't make it. And some of them did. By the way, this is very important. When I say the majority, it means the majority. Because I always have a comment like this. Oh, but there was a coin that made a new all-time high in January 2022. Sure. That's like me saying the majority of people are below 6 feet, 6'5", or 2 meters tall. And then you come to me and you say, no, but I know a guy in high school, he was 2 meters and 10, or he was 7 feet tall. So you're wrong. No. Majority. Average doesn't mean every single coin that has ever been created. It means by far the majority did not make new all-time highs, and only a very specific subsegment actually managed to be kind of unicorn like NFTs. So very important to understand. So are we repeating 2021? No, Ethereum should have been at new all-time highs again. The cycle would have ended for the most part early. None of that has happened. Okay, if my theory is correct and 2017 is going to be repeated, not the exact numbers. Understand this. In 2017, if you would go to CoinMarketCap and you picked any of the top 100 coins, all of them did 100x. Do I think Bitcoin is going to do 100x from the bottom? That would put it at 15K was the bottom. So 150, $1.5 million. Do I think Bitcoin is going to get to $1.5 million? No. Ethereum 800 would be $80,000. Do I think Ethereum is going to get to $80,000 this cycle? No. So on and so forth, right? You get the gist. Do I think Dogecoin is going to get close to $1 trillion? No. Maybe 250 billion max, but I don't see it really. But my point being that it's by you have a pump you have the first altcoin season going from February to May or so, and then you have a big sell-off in the summer, and then you have a final one in Q4 2025. That's my expectation. Now, what was happening in 2017? The dollar was stronger, just like now. Trump was elected, just like now. A lot of uncertainty because of tariffs, just like now. China had came from bad years in 2015 and 2016, just like now. China, by the way, people don't either forgot about it or don't understand. China in 2017 carried the global liquidity almost by itself, because the Fed in 2017 was hiking rates. So think about it. Every time you see these channels saying we cannot go up until the Fed's balance sheet goes up and they start printing money and lowering rates again, I said the biggest altcoin season we've ever seen was when the Fed was hiking rates. China was carrying the load of liquidity. What is the issue with China right now? The dollar is very strong. China wants desperately to print money, but they can't, because if they start, they lose the peg to the dollar, which has much worse effects than simply having a more lackluster economy. And I know, and I think well, Trump is surrounded by some pretty smart people. I get the feeling that Trump will, somewhere in the near future, leverage that advantage, basically say, okay, I agree to devalue the dollar, but you need to do A, B, C, and D for me, kind of stuff. The typical deals that Trump makes. Because China really wants to print, but they know if they start printing now, they will lose the peg. Then people say, oh, Japan is going to hike rates. We've seen this movie already. Japan can hike rates, yes. They hike today. If their market starts to crumble tomorrow, they go back and cut rates again. There's nothing special about this with Japan. They've done this 1,000 times before. Okay, but what else? What are the similarities? So China wants to pump liquidity into the system. They can't because the dollar is too strong. But the dollar pattern, the Dixie, is starting to look very similar to the 2017 pattern that we saw with Trump last time around. What else? Trump complaining about interest rates being too high, just like last time. No difference. If we repeat 2017, Ethereum needs to pump 30% plus in the month of February. At least high 20s. This would be already a little deviation, but let's say at least high 20% pump in the month of February. Month of February. Does that mean first week of February? No. Does it mean the first 5 days of February? Also no. You see, I don't like weekend pumps in Bitcoin and Ethereum the same way that I don't like Bitcoin and Ethereum dumps, because when the market open for the big institutions, these gaps that are created over the weekend tend to be filled to the downside and to the upside. So I'm a consistent guy. If there's a sell-off over the weekend, I don't like it. If there's a sell-off, if there's a big pump during the weekend, I also don't like it, because I know at some point or another those gaps will be filled by the institutions when they can trade during the week. So, in summary, are we seeing so far similar things to 2017? Yes. So 2017, Ethereum has its real pump, big pump in March. So basically March, April, May, and June, but particularly March, April, and May, it's a very good time period for Ethereum and a very good time period for altcoins. If we do repeat 2017, because don't forget, the cycles don't repeat, are not exact 4 years, they're a bit less than 4 years. That means the pump should start somewhere in February and should last, I would say, around maximum May. Then we have our big sell-off during the summer. People say the cycle is over. Big white swan, big positive thing happens in July, August. We run into late September, early October. Bitcoin maxes out. Q4 is altcoin season. So Bitcoin max tops late September, early October. Sells off into November. Pumps in November, but doesn't quite make a new all-time high. Gets close, but doesn't quite make a new all-time high. The point is, it's going to convince people, trick people, that we're going to make a new all-time high, and we're not going to make it. And then altcoins and Ethereum top also late November or in December, and the cycle is then over. Now, what's going to be the narratives? What's going to be the explanation? What's going to be the exact thing that's going to happen? It's anybody's guess. So what I'm trying to say here is a lot of the similarities we've seen in 2017 cycle are happening right now. February, we are still on track for the 2017 cycle. What would be different would be if Ethereum dumps or doesn't pump almost nothing in the month of February. Then you can say we start to have some deviation, and then we'll need to reassess in the terms. My opinion is going to be all based on are these coins still cheap? Yes or no? Or are they going to continuously bleed out into Bitcoin and all the other altcoins will simply disappear? Now, what I think gives me a little bit of hope, or what gives me a bit of confidence, of extra confidence, if you will, is that the US president is accumulating Ethereum. He's now at $300 million. He was selling, or at least there's a lot of clues that he was dumping Trump from Solana to buy Ethereum. Seems like he knows something that we don't. And the Larry Fink, the man from La Roca Negra, right, is accumulating Bitcoin, is accumulating Ethereum, is now at north of $4 billion, and we know what he wants to do in terms of tokenization of securities and bonds. So the person that heads the financial institution, that if it was a country would be the third largest in the world in terms of wealth, which is BlackRock, and the US president both like Ethereum. And they know something that I don't, and they have way more money than I do. That's how I think about it. You guys are free to disagree. It's a free world, so you can say, oh, no, you're completely wrong, this is terrible, blah, blah, blah. That's all fine. What else would I like to tell you before I leave? I wanted to mention, I've seen an increasing number of posts on Twitter and videos on YouTube about how there's not going to be an altcoin season this cycle. It's all going to be about Bitcoin. Last cycle, January 2021, people said the exact same thing before the altcoin season began. The same people made the same posts, by the way. This is the funny part. The same people said the same things, and the message was the same, which tells me that's good. My experience is bull markets end in euphoria, and in a way that none of us can see how can this market ever go down again. Not like this. So that's the reason for me guessing that we will repeat indeed 2017. By the end of February, we will have a much clearer picture, so we'll be here to reassess once again. And with that, thank you very much for your support, guys. Don't forget, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.